It was a highly anticipated game coming into Saturday versus Golden State. The Knicks were looking to end this road trip on a win, and a lot of talk about what might happen with Draymond Green and Karl Anthony Towns. The last time the Knicks played the Golden State Warriors was in Madison Square Garden here in New York, and Karl Anthony Towns was not playing due to dealing with some family issues. Draymond Green, however, was playing, and Draymond Green went on his podcast, and we all know what he said, talking about the rumors that Karl Anthony Towns did not play that game because Jimmy Butler was in town. Well, Karl Anthony Towns was playing this game on Saturday, and everybody was looking forward to see if the Knicks would handle their business and get some revenge against Golden State, and to see how Cat was going to respond to Draymond Green. But Golden State showed that they took the momentum, and they ran away with the momentum, and they got the win. And it was not only about the face-off or the grudge match between the New York Knicks, Golden State, Karl Anthony Towns, and Draymond Green, but a video came out showing in-house situations between Josh Hart and Coach Tom Thibodeau, where Coach Tom Thibodeau and Josh Hart were yelling at each other during a timeout in the fourth quarter. After this intro, I will get in to all of it.
The 2-1. Lindor towards right center field. This one is back. It is gone! Grand slam! And Lindor puts the Mets on top. The biggest swing of the season for New York.
3-second differential. Shot clock, game clock. Shot clock down to 5. Here's Towns from 3. It's gone! Karl Anthony Towns with the dagger. 3-point field goal.
Knicks regain their composure. Towns, deep 3-ball with the twist.
What is going on, everybody? What is going on? It is your boy David, and I'm here with another video from Top Bunk Sports. And I'm going to get right into it. As you saw in that intro, I explained exactly what happened Saturday and what we're going to talk about. As you see here in this thumbnail right here, I named this episode Lost in Golden State, Thibs versus Josh Hart. Now, of course, before we get into that, I'm going to get into a little bit of the stats of yesterday's game. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday night as I'm recording this at night. But I'm going to get into a little bit of the stats of the game and kind of give my opinion on where things went wrong. First and foremost, the Knicks lost to the Golden State Warriors 97-94. And a lot could be talked about within this game. First of all, it was a frustrating game because you're going into this game thinking, listen, last time the Knicks played Golden State, yes, it was a back and forth, but it didn't end in our favor. Golden State came out with the victory. Steph Curry, of course, went off. And you're thinking, hey, we played that Portland game. The way we played it, not everybody's favorite, but it ended with a Mikal Bridges game winner. You go into this Golden State game, you know what's on the line, you know what's being said, you know all the storylines that's being created. There's a lot of motivation going into this game. So this is one that a lot of Knicks fans wanted. Well, you look at the team stats, they shot 43% from the field. They made 85% of their free throws, 38% from three-point, 20 assists, 49 rebounds, 36 defensive rebounds, 13 offensive rebounds, 6 steals, 6 blocks, 16 fouls, 13 turnovers, 8 points off of turnovers. Golden State had 19 points off of turnovers. Excuse me. Four bench points. Golden State had 26 bench points. 48 points in the paint. We had a 5. Our largest lead was 5. Golden State's largest lead was 9. You had that. Then, of course, you had a good game from Miles Bridges. Deuce, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Mikal Bridges, excuse me. That's Mikal Bridges. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. You had Deuce McBride, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He shot 8 of 17 from the field. He 3 of 6 from 3-point. I gotta shout out Deuce McBride, man, for really what he was able to do in yesterday's game, being able to stay in front of Steph Curry, make everything difficult for Steph Curry. Just the confidence in this kid. I mentioned in my last video that ever since Deuce McBride got that contract extension, Deuce McBride has been able to he's been able to shoot better in terms of shooting with confidence. Like you see the way he's shooting his threes, you see the way he's shooting in his mid ranges, you see the way he's been able to blow past his defenders, being able to break down his defenders, being able to see the vision around the court. Like this isn't a guy that doesn't see his guys. He's being able to move the ball around the court, and he's been able to really utilize his game to another level. I really got to commend Deuce McBride for that, because this is not the Deuce McBride that we saw the year before. This is not the actually this is a better Deuce McBride than we saw a year before. The year before that, we didn't see that Deuce McBride. We didn't know what Deuce McBride we were going to get. He gets that contract extension, and I'm not saying that it's all about the money, but again, you just see a whole different Deuce McBride. And again, in big moments, he's been playing really, really well. I really have to commend Deuce McBride for what he's been able to do. Mikal Bridges, solid game. Wasn't really that he was efficient. You had 8 of 14 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. He was a +2 in point differential. Again, Deuce, excuse me, Mikal Bridges continues to show that he can be effective. And what I like about this is that, like I said before in the last video when I spoke about their game against Portland, if what happened with him in terms of what he said about Thibs and the article coming out, and then obviously him playing the way he played in Portland, if this is what's going to jumpstart him to come into the playoffs and really be that key factor with Jalen Brunson, that's a really, really good sign, because I don't think people really understand how important that is. Another thing too is when you're going into these situations with Mikal Bridges, it doesn't matter where you put him, he's gonna try to fight. He's gonna try to succeed. So whether he's bringing up the ball, whether he's playing the shooting guard position, whether he's playing small forward, right? Mikal Bridges does a lot on the ball, and he does a lot off the ball. And I don't think people really understand that and really kind of see that. So I really got to shout out Mikal Bridges, because if the consistency comes up, and it and in fact, excuse me, that might be something that we could definitely use going into the playoffs, especially for a guy that's getting killed. You're talking about what, 5 first-round draft picks, and people were killing him left and right. I mean, I gotta commend him. That brother's been playing really well, and so shout out to him. Again, you're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 12 of 21 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. And this is a game that everybody was expecting Karl-Anthony Towns to really put a stamp on it. I'm sure Karl-Anthony Towns heard everything that was being said. Again, that brother is living in a situation right now where he can't get away from the soft comments. I know a lot of people on Knicks Twitter, I know a lot of people on social media that think Cat is soft. Hey, he had certain features of himself when it came to his game that I wasn't even sure of. When they made that trade for Karl-Anthony Towns and they traded away Julius Randle, a lot of people were happy about it. But I said, listen, is he going to bring that? Is he going to bring that? Is he going to bring the Karl-Anthony Towns that we like? Is he going to be that guy? Is he going to be that guy? And that's where I'm trying to figure out, like, how is this going to work? Where is this going to factor with him now that he's going to a new team? He just made it to the Western Conference Finals the year prior with Ant-Man. Those were the two guys that they were building around, along with Rudy Gobert. So now it's like he's coming to New York. How is that going to factor? What's the pressure going to be like? And a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people think that he's, again, too soft. He's not that guy. He'll never be that guy. Some of them still wish Julius Randle was here because they think Julius Randle brought a little bit of toughness to him. And, to a certain extent, I can understand that. I can honestly understand that. I can't be upset. Again, there was not a lot of people thought that we were going to succeed with Julius Randle, but there was a certain amount of toughness that Julius Randle brought that a lot of people don't see with Karl-Anthony Towns. Well, again, you were hoping that in that game last night that some of that toughness was gonna come out and he wasn't going to take no shit. Now, in the beginning, he picked up his third foul. If I am not mistaken, he picked up a third foul in the second quarter. When he picked up that third foul, Thibs was already going to bench him. You already have 3 fouls in the second quarter. I can't afford to have you in there again, because then if you pick up your 4th foul, you're down to 2 fouls, and you can get fouled out. Picks up his 3rd foul. Draymond Green already talking trash. He's soft. Get him out of here. He's pointing to the Knicks bench, telling him to go sit down. Then Karl-Anthony Towns just looks at him and he was like, "Yo, like, you a bitch. You a bitch. Like, like, you can't say that shit to my face." Meanwhile, you got guys in front of him trying to hold him back. So, I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns is gonna risk it and try to fucking go over those guys and try to land one across Draymond Green's face. But at least he said something and he didn't just walk away. Now, obviously, you go fast forward to the end of the game. Draymond Green basically isolates the game in the 4th quarter when he drives by Karl-Anthony Towns, gets a layup in, and he basically does the night Steph Curry thing. And when the game is over, this is where people are losing their marbles, because when the game is over, Karl-Anthony Towns just goes straight to the locker room. Straight to the locker room. With everything that Draymond Green said within his podcast, with everything that Draymond Green said, "Oh, I didn't know, blah, 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 blah." We all know Draymond Green is bullshit. We all know Draymond Green just loves controversy. Draymond Green just says whatever's on his mind. And again, he has a platform that's not going to cancel. Nobody's going to stop him. He's going to say whatever he wants. And he's not going to be held accountable for what he says, right? So Draymond Green does what he does. And now, mind you, teammates already know what this shit's about. Teammates know how this shit's been going. They knew, even though they don't talk about it, they knew what this game was about. Yet after the game, guys are dapping up Draymond, guys are keying with him, guys are just like, "Yo, whatever," shrugging their shoulders. "Yo, Draymond, you my dog," whatever. And I know certain people are gonna be like, "Well, that whole situation with Cat and Draymond, that's on them, has nothing to do with your teammates." And I'm gonna say this: if my teammate just lost a family member, I don't care what it is. I don't care. People talk about how, there's certain athletes that have lost someone and the next day they play. Right? At the end of the day, man, you're human. Not everybody's going. It doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, it does not matter. People handle grief differently. So I'm not expecting Cat to just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go play," even though I just lost someone the day before. Now, who knows? He's probably still grieving. But he said, "You know what? I'm gonna try to tough it out. I'm gonna go play with my boys because they need me. It's an important time. We're in March. We're a month away from the playoffs. They need me." And hey, he's right now playing the best that he can. I mean, he came out, like I told you the stats. He was playing the best ball that he could possibly. He balled out. He balled out. Of course, I have question marks with him defensively. I think everybody does. I mean, for one point, every time they put in a pick and roll, Steph Curry coming off that pick and roll, he's dropping back. Brother, you've played this man how many times when you were with Minnesota? And he's killing y'all with threes. He hit back-to-back threes on pick and rolls where Cat is just moving back and he's not playing them up. I'd much rather Cat get beat off the dribble or get beat off that pick and roll, where at least they know, hey, Steph's coming in. Yo, close the paint. Make Steph make that extra pass. But instead, Stephen Curry's like, "Yo, soon as you set that pick and roll, I see food. Because I know he's not going to play me up. I know he's going to drop, which means it's giving me space to shoot this three." He literally almost made 3 straight threes off that one move. He made a three, right? The Warriors, right after the Knicks possession, they got back on offense. Same thing. Pick and roll. Steph comes off that pick and roll, 3-pointer, makes the second one again. They do the same thing again. Stephen Curry shoots a 3 after he gets off the pick and roll, and he almost makes it. And it's just like, brother, If he already shot two threes in front of you off that same action, where's the adjustment at? Where's the adjustment at? So there's a lot of things about Catman, and I know Thibs likes to play the drop coverage. At some point, if you're Thibs, I gotta ask, like, where does the adjustment? And that's been my thing with Thibs, or like since he's been a head coach for the Knicks. Adjustments. That was my question mark when he came when he went in, when he played when we went into the second round against Miami. Adjustments against Indiana, certain adjustments he didn't make, and I think that cost him. Besides the injury, I think certain adjustments kind of cost him in that second round. Even though I really don't shit on him for that one, I think it's injuries, but adjustments, right? And now you're looking at this Golden State game, and you're like, yo, if you're realizing that you're getting killed off of pick and rolls, and your drop coverage is not working on defense, where can we get any adjustments on defense? And that's the problem. And again, I don't think it's solely on Thibs, because it's a situation where guys just can't play defense. Guys just don't listen. We're absolutely trash in guarding the perimeter. Absolutely trash. If you're watching, if you watch the games day in and day out, we give up 3-pointers like nothing. Like absolutely nothing. And they kill us. So again, it's some of it is his fault. I don't think all of it is, just because we suck defensively, but there's certain things that need to be fixed defensively, and I think that's gonna hurt us in the playoffs. I mean, just watching the way this team plays ball, man, you wonder to yourself, yo, how the hell are we gonna be able to stop a Cleveland Cavaliers team right now in the playoffs? How the hell are we gonna beat a Boston Celtics team in the fucking playoffs? We get killed. We're gonna get killed. So, hey, there's nothing. At some point, you're looking at Thibs, and again, and in terms of, like I said, I only put it on Thibs within adjustments. At the end of the day, I do understand that he's not playing. It's not. It's at the end of the day, he's the one that, he's putting different plays out there, different sets out there. It's for the guys on the court to execute those sets and those plays, right? So I personally don't put all of it on Thibs. I know a lot of Knicks fans want him gone. I do think that if the Knicks could go younger within the head coach, maybe a new head coach would probably help us in a different way, but I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things for the Knicks to figure out when it comes to decision making this summer. I don't know what they're going to do. But again, what hurt us was the fact that Moses Moutier killed us from three. Killed us from three. Shooting like crazy. Stephen Curry really wasn't that great from three. He only made 4 3-pointers. He had 13 attempts, only made 4. But again, 28 points. Guy was just straight killing. Did whatever he needed to do. And again, part of that was him not being so efficient from three. Yeah, in yesterday's game was Deuce McBride guarding him. But once Deuce was out the game, he was doing whatever he needed to do. Honestly, he was doing whatever he needed to do, and it was just they really couldn't stop him. They really couldn't stop him. I think what killed the Knicks too was that there were certain shots that they were missing, and the Knicks, and turnovers as well. I will not take that away. Turnovers was killing them as well, but there were certain shots that they were looking at and they were shooting, and they just couldn't make them. They just couldn't make them. So the Warriors took advantage of that in transition, and they were scoring off transition. But now that I got that out the way, we got to talk about Josh Hart. We got to talk about Josh Hart. And that's kind of the focus of this video. Jalen Brunson is out. You don't have Jalen Brunson. You're thinking to yourself, okay, the next guy that I could kind of look at as a captain right now, while our actual captain is out, is Josh Hart. Josh Hart's a veteran. Josh Hart sets the tempo whenever he's on that court, whether it's on ball, off ball. He's doing a lot of things to set the tempo and set everything straight for the Knicks when he's in that game. So when Josh Hart specifically goes 0 points, yes, he had 7 rebounds. Yes, he had 7 assists, but he was 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. And he was a -5 in the game. And then you have that, and once you're already frustrated with Josh Hart, right? You're already frustrated with Josh Hart, and then you're seeing this.
The timeout. As the Knicks a little frustrated right now, down by 9. Tom Thibodeau, who loves Josh Hart as a player, is always raving about what he gives him, giving him a little something extra there. Well, the timeout.
So I'm looking at that, and obviously you guys see PJ Tucker kind of, trying to talk to Hart. And shout out to CP, the franchise from Knicks Fan TV. My guys, I watch them all the time. He basically said that they were one of the callers that called in was there at the game, and he was near the Knicks bench, and basically saying that PJ kind of at the end of the fourth quarter with 1 minute left was kind of giving like a speech, was kind of giving like a motivated speech kind of. And you like that. You absolutely like that because PJ's a vet. PJ's played with PJ's a champion. He won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. Like PJ's seen it all. So when you get a veteran like that who again is on a 10-day contract, we just signed him to a 10-day contract. We don't know if he's gonna see the floor. I'm tired of this PJ Tucker era because he hasn't seen the floor. So it ain't no era to me. This ain't no era to me. This ain't nothing with PJ. He hasn't seen the floor. So I don't want to hear nothing about PJ Tucker. I'm glad that he's able to, provide some insight and help guys on the bench and give some, veteran knowledge to guys. But that's about it. That's all he's here for. Let's be real. So you kind of see him, touching Josh Hart on the side and kind of, getting him loosen up and stuff like that. At the end of the day, look, from my perspective on all this, Tibbs is always going to get criticized no matter what it is. He's always going to get criticized because he's been here for 5 years and he's the head coach. He runs this shit. But I'm gonna side with Tibbs in this situation. There's a lot of people that don't side with Tibbs and side with Josh Hart because they don't mess with Tibbs. But I'm gonna side with Tibbs in this factor. Josh Hart's a veteran, like I said before. Josh Hart can be one of these. He's one of the leaders on this team, right? And when your captain and your leader and Jalen Brunson is out, I'm looking at Josh Hart to be that leader, right? Because like I said, he does a lot of things in terms of setting the tempo on the court and doing and getting guys in their spot and moving the ball and getting the momentum going. And you see it, right? But brother, you had 0 points the entire game. You played like absolute trash. If there's something that is said, right? If there's something that is said, it looked like to me Josh Hart said something to Tibbs for Tibbs to come back and react the way that he did. Now we seen Tibbs on the sideline argue and yell and do all that. At the end of the day, listen, that's just the way Tibbs is. But I would much rather it have been Cat or even Mikhail, because Mikhail has already spoken out about Tibbs, whether we think he's lying or not. But for Josh Hart, as much of a veteran that he is, brother, you've played like ass. You've played like trash. You've played like absolute trash. So for you to go and again, I don't know what was said. I'm not a lip reader, so I can't go out there and try to be like John Boy. But again, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. And there's a video of Tibbs kind of saying like, "Hey, that's in his post game. I love Hart. That's what it is. It was just a conversation or whatever." He didn't obviously go into detail of it, but it it just didn't look right. It just didn't look right. And in a moment where things could have gone right after the whole Mikhail situation, because obviously the way that game ended with Mikhail doing everything and him getting the game winner, then you have this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guys on Knicks Twitter who have said this before. They have stated this, and I do agree with this. It looks like the pressure is getting to the Knicks now. That this team is not what the record says. That now it's game time, and now if certain adjustments aren't being made and we're not doing what we need to do in the playoffs, we're screwed. We're screwed. And it's looking like the pressure's getting to this team. Guys, we are 0-10 against top teams in the NBA. 0-10. And just imagine with the way we've gotten our asses handed, like it hasn't even been close with those two teams in our conference. The last two games, the last 4, 5 games, the last 3 games that we played against Boston, and the last 2 games that we played against Cleveland, we have gotten stomped, completely just killed. So now I'm looking at a team where they can't play defense, no matter what the number says. It says we're sixth in the league in defensive rating. I watch our games day in and day out, and I'm gonna give them a little bit of credit defensively because as a team they played well defensively last night. But that Golden State team, we've stayed neck to neck with them. We didn't know how we couldn't close out when it mattered, and that's why they beat us. And turnovers killed us. Other than that, if we were able to close out and we were able to limit the turnovers, I think we win both games against Golden State. But for some reason, when we play the Boston Celtics and we play the Cleveland Cavaliers, we get cooked, absolutely blown out, and I'm scared for that. Now, mind you, if the standings stay the way they are, which most likely look like they will, and we play the Detroit Pistons, I am not taking Detroit lightly. I'm not. I absolutely am not. The Detroit Pistons this year are different. Absolutely different. They have already beaten us twice, and there's a reason for that. They've sent us a message twice, and we got to play them in the first round. It is not going to be easy. Knicks fans think it will. They don't think Detroit's like that. Guys, I'm not taking Detroit lightly. And then if we get past Detroit, which I think we will, but I'm not taking them lightly, we got to either play the Cavs or we got to play the Boston Celtics in the second round. And that's where shit's going to get ugly. They got to figure it out, man. They got to figure it out. And again, I'm not saying that there's argument between Thibs and Josh Hart is going to ruin shit. I'm not. Because at the end of the day, in moments as a team and as your head coach, shit's going to happen. It's just the heat of the moment. Guys, get over it. But there's a lot of things that is gonna fall on Thibs, but at the same time, it's like, yo, accountability needs to be. You have to take accountability when you have to. Josh Hart did not play well for him to be complaining about anything. Anything. I'm being totally honest. Whatever he said should not have been said. Because at the end of the day, brother, it's not like you were the most efficient on that court last night, and then you said what you said. You were the worst player on that court last night. So, it is what it is. Again, the Knicks lose a tough one, a must-win, one game that we were all looking forward to, especially with the headlines with Draymond Green and Karl-Anthony Towns. Obviously, people are going to say what they're going to say about Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he handled the situation pretty well. I mean, obviously, he wasn't in no kumbaya moment. He went straight to the locker room after the final buzzer in the fourth quarter. Everybody else was dapping up Draymond like they're besties. I think that was super whack, especially because they know about the situation. Go handle your teammate. Your teammate obviously is dealing with that situation, and he's not cool with any of them. And yet y'all want to dap the dude who was basically saying and never really took back his comments about what he said. He, basically was like, "Oh, I didn't know that cat was, had a funeral or whatever," but he didn't take back his comments. So you knew what his mindset was. Yet you're still kumbayaing with them. You're still lovey-dovey with him. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Whether people look at it different, I didn't like that. I would have walked straight to the locker room and checked on Cat. And Mitch Robinson wasn't one of them that did, because he dapped up Draymond and then walked with Cat. So, that you got that. Hopefully, this is now that the road trip is done. Now that the road trip is over, they come back home to play the Miami Heat. They've already beaten Miami twice. Hopefully, this is something where they could just cleanse, let everything go. You guys played a solid, it wasn't great, but it was a solid road trip in the West. Maybe them being home and maybe them playing the Heat where they've already beaten them twice is a little motivation for them to go into these next couple of games where it's kind of lightens up. It kind of lightens up a little bit. Now that we in February and March it was tough, but now it kind of lightens up a little bit in the middle of March, and you could just dominate. Just dominate, get as much wins as you can, go into the playoffs, and just be ready. Because now that we gotta, we have question marks on the defensive end, and we got question marks within what is this team going to do in the playoffs. But then now Shams from ESPN puts out a report before the game that Jalen Brunson is not is going to be sidelined from late March to early April. At this point, brother, your season is done. Rest up for the playoffs and just be ready. Let's have a healthy Jalen Brunson, and whether people think that we're gonna get stomped or not, listen, the playoffs are gonna be here. Whatever happens in the playoffs is whatever happens in the playoffs. I'm not one of those guys that says, "Hey, I only care about wins. I don't care about what happens in the playoffs." No, I want a chip. I want a chip. But at the same time, it's like whatever happens in the playoffs is whatever happens in the playoffs. That's all I can say. So, with that being said, hopefully Monday gets them on a new good momentum. They could get a win on Monday at home, go on the road with those 2 games, and just rack up as many wins as they can. That's it. Put whatever happened in the past. That's it. You can't do nothing about it. Hopefully, Cat plays better. Josh Hart plays much better and learns from his mistakes, and we could finally just be that team that, hey, listen, Jalen Brunson's not here, the captain's not here, but we got a young point guard who's playing phenomenal in Deuce McBride that can help us get in, secure the third seed and just get us ready for the playoffs. That's it. But yeah, man, Knicks lose a tough one in Golden State, 97-94. Thibs and Josh Hart going back and forth. Obviously, I don't think much of it. I'm sure they spoke and they hashed it out. But yeah, man, hope defensively they got to figure it out. And coming crunch time, they gotta figure out how to close these games, man, because even though they've gone into overtime and they're what, like 6-1 in overtime, not going to overtime is always a good thing, man. You got to learn how to close these games out and be efficient, especially in the second half. But with that being said, like I said, the Knicks play Monday against the Miami Heat, and we'll talk about it then. Please make sure you like, follow, share, subscribe to the Top Bunk Sports YouTube page and all my other Top Bunk Sports social media pages. Please follow the vibe, man. My name is David, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.